I watched my daughter-in-law fling a heavy canvas duffel bag into the shimmering waters of Willow Creek and speed off without so much as a backward glance. The splash echoed like a slap across the quiet afternoon, ripples spreading wide under the October sun. I stumbled down the steep embankment, fighting the sucking mud that clung to my boots like cold fingers, and the chill of the current that bit through my jeans. My breath came in sharp puffs, visible in the crisp air, as I hauled the waterlogged bag back to solid ground. My hands trembled uncontrollably, knuckles white on the slick straps, nearly dropping it into the muck again. That's when I heard it, a faint muffled whimper echoing from inside, weak as a distant bird call, but piercing straight to my soul. If you've ever felt that gut-wrenching betrayal from someone you trusted, or if my story pulls at your heart, subscribe to the channel so you don't miss the next one. You're not alone in this. My name is Nora Hale, and I'm 62 years old. I've been rattling around in my old lakeside cabin on the edge of Willow Creek in upstate New York ever since I laid my only son, Ben, to rest 9 months ago. The place used to hum with his energy. Weekend barbecues with the smoky scent of grilling burgers wafting through the pines. Late-night talks on the dock where the water lapped softly against the wood. Fireflies dancing like tiny lanterns. Now it's just echoes and dust. The creak of floorboards under my feet too loud in the silence. Shadows stretching long across rooms that feel emptier every day. That crisp October afternoon, I was nursing a mug of black coffee on the deck, the bitter steam warming my face as I stared at the leaves turning red and gold, drifting lazy on the breeze. A quiet ache settled in my chest, the kind that sneaks up when memories hit too close. Ben's laugh, his strong arms hugging me goodbye after visits. I wondered, not for the first time, if I'd ever fill the hole he left. The roar of an engine snapped me out of it, gravel crunching like bones under tires. It was Jenna's black SUV, my daughter-in-law's ride, tearing down the pass like she was fleeing a fire. Dust billowed in thick clouds, coating the air with a gritty haze that stung my eyes. She braked hard right at the water's edge, tires spitting pebbles that pinged off rocks like scattered bullets. She leaped out, face twisted in panic, cheeks flushed red, eyes darting wild like a trapped deer's. The car door slammed with a metallic thud that carried across the yard. She popped the hatchback with enough force to make the whole vehicle rock, hinges groaning in protest. There it was, the green canvas duffel I'd gifted her on her wedding day to Ben. Back when I joked it was perfect for hauling adventure gear on their honeymoon hikes. She'd laughed then, a bright, easy sound that made me think she fit into our lives. Her hand squeezing mine as she said, "Thanks, Mom, it's sturdy, just like you." But now she dragged it out, grunting under its weight, her arms straining like it held bricks, veins bulging on her forearms. Sweat dampened her shirt despite the cool air, and she paused for a split second, chest heaving, glancing over her shoulder as if expecting pursuit. "Jenna!" I shouted from the deck, my voice cracking on the wind, but it was swallowed by the rustling leaves and the distant rush of the creek. Or maybe she ignored it, too lost in whatever demon chased her. She lugged the bag to the bank, every step a labored drag through the pebbles, scanning the tree line with wild eyes, sweat beading on her forehead and trickling down her temple. Her breaths came in short, ragged bursts I could almost hear from here. With a low grunt that built from her gut, she heaved it once, muscles coiling like springs, twice, her face contorting in effort, and on the third try, it sailed into the water with a heavy splash that sent ripples racing outward, muddying the clear creek bed below. The bag bobbed for a heartbeat, green canvas darkening as it soaked before the current tugged it under, bubbles rising like final breaths, popping softly on the surface. A knot twisted in my stomach. Something about the weight, the desperation in her throw, felt wrong, heavier than camping gear or old clothes. She didn't wait. Engine revving with a throaty growl, she floored it back down the path, tires screeching on loose stones, vanishing in a haze of exhaust and grit that hung in the air like smoke from a dying fire. I froze on the deck, heart slamming against my ribs so hard I pressed a hand to my chest, feeling the erratic thump. What in God's name had just happened? Jenna, the poised woman who'd sobbed at Ben's graveside, clutching his photo like a lifeline, acting like a cornered animal. A chill crawled up my spine, unrelated to the autumn breeze whispering through the pines, carrying the earthy scent of fallen leaves. My mind raced. Had she lost something precious? Or was she discarding it? The thought lodged like ice in my veins, a mother's instinct screaming that whatever was in that bag mattered more than it should. My feet moved on instinct before my brain caught up, a surge of urgency overriding the ache in my knees from years of hard winters. I bolted down the wooden steps, creaky and slick with dew, across the yard, shoes sinking into the soft earth as I hit the bank, grass wet and cold underfoot. The creek was maybe 200 feet from the house, shallow here but swift, the water glinting like shattered glass in the slanting light. I waded in without a second thought. The water hit my shins, icy and relentless, shocking the breath from me as it soaked my jeans to the thighs, numbing my skin instantly. Mud gripped my ankles like greedy hands, pulling with every step, the bottom a sucking mire that threatened to topple me. The duffel was half submerged, leather straps slick and gleaming, drifting toward deeper water where the current swirled faster, frothing white around rocks. I lunged, fingers closing around a handle just as it slipped farther. Cold water splashed my face, tasting of minerals and decay. It was heavier than it looked, dead weight that yanked me off balance, my boots sliding on algae-slick stones. Water sloshed over my waist, soaking my shirt, the chill seeping into my bones like a warning. I pulled, muscles burning from disuse. God, when had I last done anything this physical? Breath coming in gasps that fogged the air. Come on, I muttered through gritted teeth, feet scrambling for purchase, a small wave of panic rising as it inched away again. Doubt flickered. Should I wait for help? Call someone? But the bag was sinking, and hesitation felt like abandonment. Finally, with a final desperate heave that tore a groan from my throat, it broke free. I dragged it to the bank, collapsing beside it in the muck, chest heaving, mud caking my hands and knees, the metallic tang of wet earth filling my nose. Then the sound came again, clearer now, a soft, ragged cry from within, muffled by canvas but insistent like a kitten trapped in a storm. My stomach dropped, a wave of nausea hitting hard. No, it couldn't be. Not that. Please, not that, I whispered, voice trembling as fear coiled tight in my gut. A mother's terror I'd buried with Ben resurfacing raw and sharp. My hands fumbled the zipper, slick with creek water and mud, fingers numb and clumsy. It jammed, warped by the soak, zipper teeth clogged with grit and weeds. I clawed at it, nails breaking against the metal, panic rising like bile in my throat, hot tears stinging my eyes and blurring the world. Open, damn you, I hissed, yanking harder, the canvas tearing slightly at the seam. A brief hesitation. What if it's something worse? Something I can't face. But the whimper came again, weaker, pulling me past it. With a desperate yank that ripped the zipper halfway, it gave way, the flap flopping open like a broken wing. I flipped it wide, and time stopped. Curled inside, swaddled in a drenched gray towel that clung like sodden rags, was an infant, a boy, no more than days old, his tiny body folded small to fit. His skin was ghostly pale, almost translucent under the fading light, lips tinged purple like bruised plums, tiny chest barely rising with shallow, erratic shudders. He wasn't crying anymore, just trembling faintly, eyelashes fluttering against closed eyes. The air left my lungs in a whoosh, the world a narrowing to that fragile form amid the smell of wet fabric and faint, milky baby scent mixed with creek mud. Oh God, no, I choked out, a sob catching in my throat as memories of Ben as a newborn flooded back, his warm, wriggling weight, so full of promise. This child was ice cold, limp as a rag doll, weighing maybe 5 pounds, his little fists clenched tight against the invading chill. A sloppy knot of shoelace bound his umbilical stump. No hospital clip, just crude string tied rough and uneven, like a backyard delivery gone wrong, blood still crusted at the edges. My mind reeled. Who does this alone? Without help? I pressed my ear to his chest, holding my own breath, the damp towel cold against my cheek. A whisper of heartbeat, so faint and fluttery I strained to catch it, like a bird trapped under glass. Then, a puff of air against my cheek, warm and fleeting. Alive, barely. Relief warred with terror in my chest, a sharp pang of what if I'd been seconds slower. Adrenaline surged hot through my veins. I scooped him up, cradling his head in one palm. So light, so breakable, his wet hair sticking to my skin, and ran for the house, water pouring from my clothes in cold rivulets, feet pounding the path unevenly. Thorns snagged my legs, drawing thin lines of blood I didn't feel. All I knew was the fragile bundle against me, his shivers sinking with my own pounding heart. Bursting through the screen door, it banged open with a splintering crack. I yelled incoherently, "Help! Please, somebody, God help!" The words tumbling out in a frantic jumble while dialing 911 on the kitchen wall phone. Its yellowed cord twisting in my fist. My wet fingers slipped on the buttons, smearing the keypad, breath hitching as the line rang once, twice. 911, what's your emergency? A calm voice cut through. A baby in the creek, cold, not breathing right. Hurry. He's blue, so small, please. I blurted my address. 1427 Creek View Lane, near Willow Creek Bridge, voice breaking on the words. The operator's tone stayed steady, a lifeline in the chaos. Lay him flat on something firm. Check breathing by watching his chest. Keep him warm, but don't rub the skin. My free arm swept the table, mail scattering like leaves. Keys clattering, a half-eaten apple rolling to the linoleum with a dull thud. And I placed him down gently, his tiny form dwarfing the scarred wood surface. His chest fluttered, shallow rises barely visible in the harsh kitchen light, filtering through lace curtains. He's breathing, weak, so weak, I told her, voice cracking high and unfamiliar, leaning close enough to feel the faint warmth of his exhales. She guided me step by step. Dry him gently with something soft, no rough towels. Wrap him skin to skin if possible, then blankets. I grabbed dish towels from the drawer, clean but thin, patting his fragile body with clumsy, desperate strokes, careful not to press too hard on his ribs. The towel absorbing water that smelled faintly of soap and creek silt. Then I layered him in every clean towel I could find from the linen closet, piling them like armor, his small shape vanishing under the folds. Rocking him instinctively against my chest, old rhythms from Ben's colicky nights surfacing unbidden, I whispered, "Hang on, sweet boy. Help's coming. You're not alone anymore." My voice thick with tears. I blinked back, the warmth of my body seeping into his icy skin. Those minutes stretched eternal. The kitchen clock ticking loud like a heartbeat. Every second a battle against the dread whispering he might slip away right here. I paced the faded linoleum, cool under my bare feet after I kicked off my muddy boots by the door, humming an old lullaby Ben loved as a kid. "Hush, little baby. Don't say a word." The melody shaky but soothing, my wet shirt dripping puddles that spread cold across the floor. Outside wind rustled the maples, leaves scraping the window like pleading fingers. Sirens finally wailed in the distance, growing louder. A piercing wail that cut through the trees. Red and blue lights flashing erratic through the panes as the ambulance crunched up the drive. 2 EMTs burst in. A burly guy named Rick with a buzz cut and sweat-dampened brow, carrying a heavy med kit, and a sharp-eyed woman, Tara, ponytail swinging as she scanned the room. The door banged wide, letting in a gust of pine-scented air. Tara took him swiftly from my arms, her gloved hands efficient yet tender, stethoscope cold against his chest. "Hypothermia, possible water in lungs, pulse ready at 110, let's go." They hooked him to portable monitors, beeping urgently. Oxygen mask tiny on his face like a doll's. IV lines snaking in with practiced speed, the sharp smell of antiseptic cutting the air. Rick's radio crackled static, coordinating with dispatch. "You found him like this?" Rick asked, eyes flicking to me as he secured straps, his voice gruff but kind under the fluorescent hum. "In a bag. Someone threw it in," I gasped, still catching my breath, hands hovering uselessly. Tara's gaze sharpened, pity mixed with something harder, suspicion flickering in her dark eyes as she adjusted the mask. "Who?" The question hung heavy, my throat tightening. "Jenna, Ben's widow. The woman who'd called me Mom at holidays, sharing pie at our table." A micro-conflict twisted inside. Protect her memory or save this child? "I saw her," I whispered finally, the words tasting like ash, guilt pricking sharp for the betrayal they implied. They exchanged quick looks, eyebrows raised, lips pressed, but said nothing. Professionalism winning as they loaded him into the ambulance on a slim gurney, wheels rattling over the threshold. I climbed in after, gripping the worn rail with white-knuckled hands, the door slamming shut with finality. We sped to Elmwood General, 12 miles away, sirens wailing, the world blurring past, golden trees whipping by, gravel roads jarring us in the tight space. The baby's monitors beeped steadily, a fragile rhythm that kept me anchored amid the chaos. The ER was chaos, doctors swarming the gurney like bees to a hive, barking orders, temperature 92.4, oxygen saturation 85, intubate now. White coats flashing under harsh lights, the sharp tang of iodine and sweat thick in the air. Feet pounded tile as they wheeled him away. I tried to follow, legs leaden, but a nurse in blue scrubs blocked me gently, her hand firm on my arm. "Wait here, ma'am. We need details first." Her voice was soft but unyielding, eyes crinkling with forced calm. The waiting area smelled of bleach and stale coffee from a vending machine humming in the corner. Fluorescent lights buzzing overhead like angry insects, casting stark shadows on beige walls dotted with faded posters about hand-washing. Nurse Carla, mid-50s with a gentle southern drawl despite being Yankee-born, something about her warm brown eyes eased the knot in my chest, sat me down with a clipboard and a styrofoam cup of lukewarm water. I spilled it all. The SUV's black gleam, the duffel arcing through the air, Jenna's frantic heave. 3:47 p.m. I checked my porch clock later, the memory etched sharp. My voice wavered, hands gesturing wildly, the weight of it all crashing down. Had I imagined the panic in her eyes? Or was it calculation? Carla nodded steadily, pen scratching paper, not judging, just listening as I relived the mud, the cry, the cold little body. "Police incoming," she said softly afterward, squeezing my hand, her skin dry and papery, a small anchor. "This is serious. Abandonment, maybe worse." Attempted murder. The phrase lodged in my throat like a stone, heavy and choking. Jenna, a killer, the woman who'd kissed Ben at our last Christmas, tinsel glowing in her hair. I stared at my mud-streaked hands, a subtle fear bubbling. What if this unravels everything I thought I knew about my son's life? 2 cops arrived soon after. Detective Lena Ortiz, 40s, no-nonsense braid pulled tight, piercing stare that seemed to peel back layers. And Officer Tim Hale, no relation, wiry kid in his 20s with a notepad and a faint scent of cheap aftershave. They grilled me in a quiet corner, vinyl chairs squeaking under our weight, car description, black Ford Explorer, plate NYX 4721, dent on the rear fender from that fender bender last summer, time exact spot by the old willow tree. Lena's pen tapped rhythmically, her eyes never leaving mine. Positive it was her? She pressed, voice even but probing, leaning forward slightly, the faint creak of her leather belt audible. Dead sure. That's Ben's wife. A pause hung, thick with implication. My daughter-in-law, family, now suspect. They noted it, faces grim lines under the lights, exchanging a glance that spoke volumes. Don't contact her. Statement tomorrow at the station, 9 a.m., 47 Oak Street. I nodded numbly, the words blurring as exhaustion hit. Carla brought dry sweats from Lost and Found, baggy grey pants and a fleece top smelling faintly of laundry detergent, and cocoa in a chipped mug, steam curling up sweet and comforting. I changed in a bathroom stall, the mirror fogged from my ragged breaths, staring at my reflection, eyes hollow and red-rimmed, hair matted with mud and creek water, lines deeper than yesterday like I'd aged a decade in hours. Vulnerability washed over me, alone again, but now with this secret weighing heavier than grief ever did. The baby, stable but critical, they said, whisked to NICU with its beeping machines and sterile hum. Next 24 to 48 hours key for his lungs, his tiny body fighting invisible battles. I couldn't leave, couldn't abandon him to strangers after pulling him from that creek. Curled in a vinyl chair that stuck to my damp skin, I dozed fitfully, jolting awake at every page over the intercom. Every squeak of wheels in the hall, dreams flashing of the duffel sinking, Jenna's wild eyes, Ben's voice calling from the water. Reverend Paul from my little Methodist church arrived at midnight. Word spread fast in our town of 4,000, phones buzzing like fireflies. He slipped in quietly, coat dusted with night chill, carrying the faint scent of wood smoke from his fireplace. He prayed silently beside me, hand heavy and reassuring on my shoulder, his thumb tracing a slow circle. Faith in the storm, he murmured after, voice low and gravelly, not pushing platitudes but offering presence. I leaned into it, a brief pause where doubt eased. Maybe I wasn't unraveling alone. Dawn crept in, grey light filtering through dusty blinds, painting the room in soft, forgiving tones. Carla updated during rounds. Temperature up to 96.8, breathing steadier on oxygen, color returning pink to his cheeks. But family only for visits now. Family? Jenna was that, and she'd done this. The irony twisted like a knife, a reflective beat where I wondered if Ben had seen her darkness, hidden it from me to protect our peace. Lena returned at 8 a.m., folder tucked under her arm, coffee breath mingling with the waiting room's antiseptic sting. New info, she said, sliding a grainy photo across the scarred table. Jenna's SUV time-stamped 4:02 p.m. at Quickmart on Route 9, 20 minutes from my place, post-dump time. Her face clear, buying smokes, ponytail swinging. My mouth went dry as sandpaper, photo trembling in my grip. But I saw... The words faltered, certainty cracking like thin ice. Lena's eyes softened fractionally, but her voice stayed firm. Nora level with me. Issues with Jenna? We clashed from day one. She'd eye Ben's mechanic salary, $85K yearly, like it was hers by right, dropping hints about upgrading our cabin visits. After his death, distant snippy calls, dodging my grief with excuses. A subtle fear gnawed. Had my resentment painted ghosts? Blame her for Ben's crash? The question hung sharp, forcing a mirror to my heart. Rainy night 6 months back. Ben hydroplaned into a guardrail, gone on impact, twisted metal steaming in the downpour. Jenna? Bumps and bruises, miraculously unscathed. Too neat, I'd thought privately, but buried it under mourning. Not consciously, I admitted, voice small, a hesitation where old wounds reopened. Had I missed signs while drowning in my own pain? Lena leaned in, chair creaking. She's ghosted. House empty at 215 Pine, phone dead. No bank hits since October 5th. Suspicion flickered her way now. Me, inventing a villain to cope with the void Ben left. Doubt gnawed deeper, a cold whisper. Grief plays tricks, turns shadows to monsters. But that cry, real as my pounding heart, the mud still under my nails. Paul returned with breakfast, a foil-wrapped oatmeal from the cafeteria, warm and sticky sweet. Truth surfaces, even if it takes time, he said, sitting close, his Bible worn soft on the cover. I forced bites down, the texture cloying, but his steady presence paused the spiral. Maybe faith wasn't about answers, just enduring the questions. A pediatrician, Dr. Ellis, tall, wire-rimmed glasses, hands scented with hand sanitizer, approached mid-morning during a quiet lull. Tests needed: blood draw, tox screen for drugs or infection. Your finder of record till CPS arrives. Sign here. Forms dated October 10th, 2025. Invoice 3921 for $2,840 in emergency scans. Numbers blurred as I scrawled my name. Urgency trumping the cost. My only thought, his survival. Social worker Kim arrived at noon. 30s, clipboard clutched like a shield, empathetic eyes framed by short auburn hair. She sat across, voice gentle over the hum of a distant vacuum. Questions flowed. Living alone. Yes, the cabin's silence my constant companion. Income. Ben's life insurance. $150K. Half in trust for future family. Plus my widow's social security. $20,100 monthly. Enough for bills, not luxuries. Health? Arthritis flaring in damp weather but managed with morning walks. Post-Ben depression. 6 weeks on meds. The fog lifting slowly. Off now, but shadows lingered. Baby needs interim care post-NICU, she explained, pen pausing. Certified fosters while we sought paternity, placement. Strangers shuffling him like a package. My chest tightened, a fierce protectiveness surging unbidden. What if I step up? The words escaped before doubt could silence them. A vulnerable admission. I'd failed Ben by not seeing Jenna's cracks. Could I save his child? She blinked, surprise flickering before skepticism settled. You're 62, no certs tied to investigation as witness. But blood ties? Unknown yet, we'd test if needed. I pushed gently, voice steadying. Test me, DNA, anything. He's alone because of this. She noted it, lips pursing thoughtfully. A micro-conflict in her eyes, weighing protocol against the raw plea in mine. That evening, home for the first time since the creek. Carla insisting on a shower, real food. I stood under scalding water, mud swirling down the drain like shed skin, steam fogging the mirror. Staring at the bank from the kitchen window, police tape fluttering yellow in the dusk breeze, duffel gone as evidence. Footprints faded, but mine etched in memory. A quiet reflection hit. This child had yanked me from numbness, forced me to feel again. Fear, yes, but purpose, too. Phone buzzed sharp on the counter. Hospital. Come quick, update and meeting. Heart slamming anew, I raced back. Speeding tickets be damned, tires humming on wet pavement, dread pooling. Had he worsened? Carla met me at the ER doors, expression tight but not devastated. He's stable, temp holding, lungs clearing, but we need you for this. Conference room down a sterile hall, fluorescent buzz, table scarred with coffee rings, Lena, Kim, and a suit, Attorney Greg Mills, silver hair slicked, tie too tight. DNA results fresh from the lab, printouts sliding across like verdict papers. Boy born, October 7th per bone scans and lung maturity. Nora, Mills said, voice measured, pausing as my breath hitched. He's Ben's son. Your grandson. 24.7% match. Paternity confirmed via Y chromosome markers. The world tilted. Room spinning in a haze of beeps from distant monitors. Ben dead 9 months. No known pregnancy. Jenna's flat belly at the funeral. Excuses for nausea as stress. She'd hidden it all. Belly swelling in secret. Calculations hit like blows. Conceived late December. Knew during the accident, 5 months along. Why silence? Bury the evidence of Ben's legacy? Lena's eyes hardened, re-examining crash. Brake lines tampered, microfractures not wear. $200 shop receipt forged in Jenna's handwriting. Sabotage. Murder cold and premeditated. Jenna prime suspect, her grief at the grave a mask. She vanished post-insurance payout, $150K wired to her October 1st, then offshore to account 478291 Belize Bank, untraceable shell. My boy killed for cash. Grandson targeted next to claim it all. Rage boiled hot in my veins, fists clenching under the table. Then grief crashed. Ben, sensing danger, alone in his final days. Tears burned unshed. A self-awareness pierced. I dismissed my instincts about Jenna as mother-in-law bias, costing us dearly. Custody. My rasped voice raw. Kim leaned forward. Possible. Emergency filing as kin. But evals. Home study. Psych screening first. I vowed silently, then aloud. Whatever it took. Courses, inspections, blood tests. They let me see him finally. NICU, a hushed world of humming incubators. Soft beeps sinking like a lullaby. Air cool and filtered. Tubes snaked everywhere. IV for fluids, nasal cannula whispering oxygen, but alive, chest rising steady. Ben's chin square and stubborn. My family eyes dark and deep set. Hey, little warrior, I whispered through the port, finger extending tentative. His tiny hand gripped back, fierce and warm. A reflex, but it felt like trust, melting the last ice in my heart. I'm Nana, you're safe now. No more cold water, no more hiding. Named him Lucas, Ben's middle name pick for a boy. Shared over burgers one summer eve. Lucas Hale. Strong like the creek. Bureaucracy hit like a freight train, relentless as winter wind. Mornings at hospital. Sitting by his isolette, the plastic warm under my palm, watching monitors flicker green. Afternoons paperwork stacking like cordwood. Criminal check clean. Just a 20-year-old speeding ticket. Psych eval in a stuffy office. Resilient. Motivated by legacy. Grief processed healthily. No red flags. The doctor's nod eased a fear I'd voiced only in whispers. Am I strong enough or just clinging to ghosts? Home visit. 2 caseworkers poking closets, dusty but tidy. Fridge, stocked with basics. Measuring outlets for plugs. $600 baby proofing followed. Graco crib, $220 assembled with blistered thumbs. Safety gates clanging on stairs, monitors crackling static tests. 30-hour foster course, humiliating in a community center folding chairs, surrounded by millennial moms with bumpers and apps. Instructor droning never co-sleep. While I bit back, I'd raised Ben's solo post-divorce. Certified November 12th, 2025. Certificate crisp in my glove box. Kim phoned. Judge reviews next week. Temp custody possible. Lena updated piecemeal. Coffee-fueled meats in the hospital cafeteria. Fluorescent glare harsh on her tired face. Jenna's aunt in Buffalo estranged. Frantically loan unpaid from business ventures. No contact 2 years. No sightings at borders, but alerts everywhere. Ben's will tweak. Pre-death notary stamp. Assets to issue. Children. Protected Lucas from her grasp. She'd learned post-funeral. Rage emails deleted but recovered. Mechanic pal Lou confessed under pressure. $500 payoff. Receipt to a K91-4, dated September 28th. Hands shaking as he admitted wrench to lines. She said it was just a prank gone wrong. Accomplice charged. Face pale in mugshot. Lucas thrived against odds. Offense by week 2. Sucking bottle with fierce pulls. His cries strengthening to lusty wails that echoed my relief. But Jenna loomed shadow-like. Nights. I bolted doors with new deadbolts clicking satisfyingly. Checked windows latches twice. The creek's murmur outside now ominous. A subtle fear gnawed. What if she circled back, eyes in the dark? One eve sorting Ben's garage boxes, grease-stained tools, fishing lures glinting. I found his laptop under tarps, password Nanolake unlocking with a chime. Emails spilled, Jenna's rants months back. This kid ruins everything. 85K shoes dream gone. Trapped in your podunk life. Ben's replies steady. Divorce if you harm him. Lawyer tomorrow. Last one. Night of crash. Saw you with that wrench near car. Police at dawn. Can't let you near our boy. Proof. Irrefutable as a punch. Handed to Lena next morn. Her jaw set. Slam dunk. Motive. Means timeline. 6 weeks post-creek. Judge, a stern woman with silver bond, granted temp custody November 4th, 2025. Gavel sharp. Kinship placement approved. Monthly checks. Took Lucas home that golden afternoon. Car seat strapped tight in my old Subaru. His blanket soft under my fingers. Drive crawling at 25 miles over every pothole. Heart leaping at bumps. His room, soft blue walls I'd painted alone. Brushes sticky with leftover latex. Mobile spinning wooden fish. Tinkling chimes in breeze from cracked window. First night, his wail pierced 2 a.m. silence like a siren. I rocked him by creek window, moonlight silver on waves, whispering, "No more water monsters, Luke. Nana's here." His milk breath warm on my neck. Exhaustion sweetening to bond. Exhaustion crushed like winter frost. Feedings every 3 hours. Colic screams till dawn rattling windows. My body protesting with aches. Arthritis flared, lifting his 5-pound frame. I iced knees, post-feed, popped ibuprofen, chasing it with creek water, but magic flickered. His first gummy smile at 3 weeks. Eyes locking on mine like recognition. Tiny fingers wrapping my thumb during changes, trust building brick by brick. Diane, volunteer nurse with laugh lines and practical bun, visited thrice weekly, teaching swaddle wraps on the couch. Tighter here, like a burrito, calms the startle. Community rallied quiet. Paul's casseroles steaming on doorstep, tuna noodle, comfort from my childhood. Neighbors' diapers stacked anonymous, a quilt from quilting circle soft as clouds. But fear lingered, a low hum, Jenna free, wind in pines sounding like footsteps. Then 4 a.m. November 15th burner call shattered quiet. Phone glowing eerie on nightstand mid-feed. Lucas nursing content. "Nora, it's Jenna." Voice ice through static, sending chills despite heater's hum. Froze, milk dribbling, heart stutter tripping. "What do you want?" "Lucas and $150K at Boathouse midnight tomorrow." Or I spill. "Ben's affair with coworker. Your kidnap of my baby. I'll bury you in court." Lies sharp as knives, but her tone, calm, entitled, revived creek horror. "Never, you're done." Alone or deals off. Click. Lying dead like a slammed door. Or Lena instant, traps it. Voice urgent over speaker. "We end this." Wired next eve. Button mic under flannel shirt. Tiny and cold against skin. Panic triple tap practice till muscle memory. Lucas to Diane's safe house. Packing his bag, hands shaking. Extra onesies folded neat, kissing his downy head. "Back soon." Warrior, dusk fell heavy. Teams positioning, snipers on ridge silhouetted dark, SWAT in woods rustling leaves. I drove, Lena hidden passenger, radio crackling codes. Boathouse, rotting dock sagging into creek. Our old fishing spot, Ben's bait bucket still rusted by door. Memories bittersweet. Midnight text buzzed. Inside. Pushed creaky door. Wood splintering under palm. Musty damp air hitting like old grief. Moonlight slanting dusty beams. "Close it." Jenna emerged from shadows. Hoodie swallowing her gaunt frame. Bleached hair choppy. Eyes hollow but gleaming feral. "Money, baby." Her voice echoed off peeling walls, gun outline bulging pocket. "Why, Jenna?" "Ben loved you, fought for you." A laugh, brittle as cracking ice. "Loved?" He was wallet, steady pay, insurance jackpot. Pregnant, trap sprung early. Sabotage breaks. Easy and $1,500 to Lou. Receipt in his shop log. "Baby." Loose end, creek poetic. Your precious fishing hole ending it all. Confession gold. Mike caught every venomous word, transmitting to Lena's earpiece. Heart raced, but I stalled. "Lou cracked. Your prints on wrench." Gun flashed silver black, pointed steady at my chest, barrel cold gleam. "Where's he?" "Safe from you." Tap, 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 panic signal sent. Her finger whitened on trigger. Shots cracked deafening. Grazed arm, fire blooming, hot and wet, blood warm trickling. I fell hard to splintered planks, pain searing white hot. Police! Floodlights blinded, boots thundering, doors bursting, shouts overlapping. Drop it! Hands up! Jenna spun wild, weapon clattering. Tackled, cuffed, snarling. Old hag, you lose! But lost she was, ambulance blurred. Arm stitched tight, no artery. Lucky graze, doc said. Antiseptic sting, sharp. Woke to Lucas in arms, his warmth chasing pain. Diane beaming. Knew you'd pull through. Lena later. Life sentence locked. Murder 1, 2 attempts. Fraud stack. Jury 22 minutes. Her confession. Gun video airtight. Justice finally. Sweet as creek honey. Months blurred into rhythm. PT for arm. Pulling bands till sweat-soaked shirts. Lucas's first smile erasing scars. Permanent custody, December 2025. Judge's smile rare warmth. Adopted legally. Hail through and through. He crawled at 7 months over rugs. Nana! At 10, voice bright as sun on water. 5 years on. Kindergarten grad in tiny cap. Fishing with me at restored boathouse. Pole wobbling. Laughter bubbling freer than creek. That duffel in the creek? Echoes now in Lucas's laugh, strong and unbroken. Betrayal forged us. Me from hollow shell to fierce guardian. Him from near death to boundless boy. What would you have done in my shoes? Sharing comments. Your stories heal us. If this moved you, subscribe for more. Stay close for the next.